On January 28, 1986, mission STS-51 L was intended to be a milestone in NASA's efforts to make space travel feel routine, aiming for a schedule of up to 24 launches per year to maintain congressional funding. This launch carried Krista McAuliffe, a social studies teacher set to become the first civilian in space, which resulted in millions of schoolchildren watching the event live. The technical root of the disaster lay in the solid rocket boosters, which were built in segments and joined using field joints. These joints were sealed by 2 Viton rubber O-rings and lined with zinced chromate putty. The design was intended to be pressure actuated, meaning internal pressure would force the O-rings to seal the gap upon ignition. However, a phenomenon called joint rotation caused the metal joint to bend and open a gap of up to 0.06 inches within the first 0.6 seconds of ignition. Furthermore, technicians discovered that the leak check procedures themselves often created blowholes in the putty, allowing hot 5,800 degrees Fahrenheit gases to jet directly onto the primary O-ring. The morning of the launch was the coldest in 100 years for a shuttle liftoff, with ambient temperatures hitting 36 degrees Fahrenheit. In such cold, Viton rubber undergoes a glass transition, losing its elasticity and becoming brittle. Engineer Roger Boisjoly at Morton Thiokol had warned months earlier that a seal failure would result in a catastrophe of the highest order, involving the loss of human life. During a tense teleconference the night before, Thiokol engineers recommended a delay, but NASA managers, under immense production pressure, challenged their logic. NASA's Lawrence Malloy famously asked, "My God, Thiokol, when do you want me to launch? Next April." In a fatal caucus, Thiokol executive Jerry Mason told his lead engineer to take off his engineering hat and put on his management hat, resulting in the decision to launch. The flight lasted only 73 seconds. At T plus 0.678 seconds, dark puffs of smoke spurted from the right SRB, signaling that the O-rings had failed to seat. A temporary seal was formed when molten aluminum oxide from the propellant slagged into the breach. However, at T plus 37 seconds, the shuttle encountered severe high-altitude wind shear, which caused the steering system to work more actively than on any previous flight. These vibrations dislodged the aluminum oxide plug. At T plus 58 seconds, a flickering flame appeared, acting like a blowtorch against the external tank. At T plus 73 seconds, the hydrogen tank failed, the SRB rotated into the stack, and the resulting explosion tore the orbiter apart while traveling at Mach 1.92. Investigations revealed that the crew likely survived the initial breakup. The crew cabin remained largely intact as it was hurled into a ballistic arc reaching 65,000 feet. 3 personal egress air packs were activated, and several electrical switches in pilot Mike Smith's panel had been moved, indicating a futile attempt to restore power. The crew was likely conscious for the 2-minute fall until the cabin hit the ocean surface at 207 miles per hour, a force of over 200 G that was not survivable. The Rogers Commission later identified the root cause as the normalization of deviance. Because the shuttle had returned safely with O-ring damage in the past, NASA managers had grown to accept the flaw as an acceptable risk rather than a warning sign. Nobel physicist Richard Feynman demonstrated the failure on live TV by dropping a sample of O-ring material into a glass of ice water, proving it stayed compressed and brittle. The disaster led to a 32-month hiatus, the redesign of the SRBs with external heaters and capture latches, and the approval of the replacement orbiter, Endeavour.